1, 2, 1, 2, and looks like we're live. Happy November. Good evening, everyone. And today we have started a new group. Multiple people who are using what we started back in October. So now we have an awesome group of people who are having 6 weeks training, and it's going to be awesome. But what I wanted to talk about today is protein intake and electrolytes, because those two things are super important. And I see time after time, especially reviewing results of my previous group, that people are not paying attention enough. And it's maybe because we didn't emphasize enough the importance of protein and electrolytes intake. So I'll give you an example. We have someone who complains that they cannot eat all the food that they're supposed to, and as a result, they eat less, and then they add weight, and then it's very weird because I ate less calories than I needed, I ate less food than I needed, and then I gained weight. So what's happening? And in fact, what's happening is that when you undereat your protein that is adequate for your lean body mass, your body goes into starvation mode, and then by not having enough protein, you actually not allowing your body to burn fat. You're putting yourself in the starvation mode. Your body decides that, well, because they are not going to feed us, we are not going to burn fat as efficient as we can. We are going to try to expend less energy, because there are vital things like repairing cells, building muscle, and things like that. And there are not so much important things like burning fat and having hair or even sexual function. So when you undereat protein, you are hungry, you're losing bone, you're losing muscle, you're losing hair, you're harming yourself. And because you cannot burn fat efficiently, you also will not lose fat, or you will add more. While you possibly can, lose weight, your fat will climb because you're losing muscle and bone now, and you are really, really getting that fat mass stuck, because it's a currency that we will spend when winter will come. But for now, we will keep it. All right. So please, whatever you do, make sure that you eat enough protein. And there's no such thing as a global need for protein that a human needs. Every single person has their own need for protein based on their own personalized macros. Meaning, if you have X amount of lean mass, then you need to eat Y amount of protein. What other person eats, it's not up to you. And usually, of course, the more lean mass you have, the more muscle, the more bone you have, the bigger person you are, the more protein you will require. And fun fact, as you work towards your goal of leaning out, you're gaining more mass, you're gaining more bone density, and now you need more protein. So please remember that. Protein is very, very important. And now let's talk about electrolytes. And this is something that we really need to put emphasis on as well. So many people who start the diet, they are not following the guidelines for consuming enough sodium and potassium and magnesium, because they don't feel that they need it, because it's scary, because there's no symptoms or keto flu or anything like that. And then when that happens, we have issues. So I know it's scary. I know it's not natural maybe to hear that, oh, now you need to supplement sodium and potassium because now you're deficient. And it doesn't make sense to most people. But think about that before you went on low carb diet, you were eating a lot of products that are full of sodium. And because you had high insulin, you couldn't clear out the liquids and sodium and other minerals from your system. So by eating a bit every time, you were building up the amount of sodium and potassium in your body. And it's not good to have high insulin and insulin resistance, but as long as you're not terribly obese, and as long as you're terribly not overdoing those things, then you will not have high blood pressure. Now, you not having high blood pressure because you don't have enough insulin, because your kidneys are clearing your liquids, and what that causes is to be deficient in sodium and potassium and magnesium. So now if you do not supplement that, then your sodium is tanking and your potassium is tanking, and you need more sodium than potassium. Now, as long as you're deficient on sodium, your blood pressure will keep on dropping. You will be dizzy, you will be weak, you will have headaches, you will suffer. And then when the ratio between potassium and sodium reaches absolute down, and now you're very low on potassium, your blood pressure will jump really high and you will have another problem. So, and now even if you supplement with a lot of sodium, right, you will fix it and go up, but now you're low on potassium. So balance is important, and supplementing from the very first day, it's super important. So whenever you start low carb diet, whenever you are, you know, thinking about how do I approach keto flu and things like that, make sure that you consume at least 5,000 milligrams of sodium, which is 5 grams a day, spread through a day, and at least 2,000 milligrams of potassium. That's a baseline to start with. If you don't start with that, then at some point you will encounter a problem where you're not balanced, you are deficient, and then it will be very, very hard to figure out how much you really need at that point. It's especially true if you are a female, if you have a period, if you're breastfeeding, if you're pregnant, because you're using way, way more liquids than average person. And you need to account for that. And again, if you didn't start doing it in the beginning proactively, then once it happens, it will be really hard to recover from that. And I know it is counterintuitive because, again, eating salt, consuming salt is not something that is recommended generally. And that's because of our high insulin as a result of our Western diet. When we go out of that, when we eat normally, now we need to supplement. And all my one-on-one clients go through personal adjustment for that. Anyway, I'm happy we had people who are watching this. I hope this was helpful to someone. And if it was, let me know. I'll be very, very happy to help with anyone, with anything you need. And also, if you are looking to make your health better, if you're looking to lose some weight or reduce inflammation, write me and join us in our November group. We're running for 6 weeks starting today, and it's going to be awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful week, wonderful evening, and see you maybe tomorrow.